Hey, I'm your host, Jessica, and let's just say today's tea is simmering hot enough to make you blush. In one shocking instant during this year's Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick Lamar set social media on fire. Right when fans thought they'd seen every surprise imaginable, he seemed to call out Drake for allegedly dating much younger women. Then, as if on cue, the entire stadium erupted in a cryptic chant, MW. No one understood what it meant at first, but they couldn't stop talking about it. Was Kendrick delivering a hidden message, an elaborate piece of performance art, or both? Speculation erupted online within minutes. Everyone wanted to know, did Kendrick really just aim a shot at Drake on one of the world's biggest stages? Yet this mystery has deeper roots. Drake and Kendrick Lamar are two of the biggest names in modern hip-hop, and fans have long searched for clues of rivalry. Had all that backstage tension finally exploded under the bright lights of the Super Bowl, or was it just another rumor getting blown out of proportion? To understand why everyone's so convinced Kendrick went for Drake's jugular at the Super Bowl, you have to wind the clock back a few years. When Drake first stormed onto the scene, he was the introspective crooner-rapper who broke the mold by blending heartfelt singing and quick-witted bars. Meanwhile, Kendrick was building a reputation as hip-hop's resident poet, carving out space for concept albums and lyricism so dense it could be studied in a college class. For a while, it seemed the two could coexist peacefully. Drake gave Kendrick a shout-out in early interviews, hinting at mutual respect. Kendrick praised Drake's hustle, but gradually, fans on both sides began noticing subtle tension. Every time Drake won a major award, some wondered whether Kendrick felt overshadowed. Whenever Kendrick dropped a critically acclaimed project, folks speculated that Drake might be annoyed he wasn't the only chart-topping king. Months before the big game, anticipation grew for Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance. He'd been tight-lipped about details, prompting all kinds of speculation. Would he bring out surprise guests? Unveil new material? Or, as fans on social media often joked, call out certain high-profile rappers? Kendrick is known for sneaking in small references, or barbs aimed at those he feels aren't genuine in their artistry. Everyone from mainstream pop stars to underground heroes have found themselves in his crosshairs, sometimes named, sometimes not. But never had Kendrick performed on such a massive, globally televised stage, which meant the stakes were high. Surprisingly, leading up to the show, there weren't any major controversies. No trash talk from Drake's camp, no cryptic tweets from Kendrick, just pure excitement for the performance. People focused more on whether Kendrick would highlight social issues, or if he'd pay tribute to legends of the genre. Even so, a sliver of watchers remained vigilant, ready to pounce on any line that might be a jab at one of rap's biggest stars. The show started with Kendrick descending onto a futuristic stage. Dancers moved in perfect synchronicity. The crowd erupted, enthralled by the spectacle. At first, everything felt like a celebration. New stage designs, bursts of fireworks, and classic hits. But then, halfway through one of his verses, Kendrick allegedly switched up a line. What had been benign in rehearsal turned into a direct reference to that man courting girls half his age, or so fans claimed. Right after that phrase, a thunderous chant of MW filled the stadium. Viewers at home froze. What was going on? Kendrick ended that segment with a sly grin, then tore into another verse. On social media, the footage went viral in seconds. People replayed the moment, trying to read his lips. The significance of MW was anyone's guess. Some believed it stood for might win. People waited for Drake's reaction as if it were a new album drop. Typically, he's swift to respond when there's a swirling rumor, either with a cryptic Instagram story or a quick tweet. This time, though, he went radio silent for days. He posted about unrelated subjects, new brand deals, philanthropic work in Toronto, but said nothing about the halftime show. Naturally, fans interpreted the silence in 1,000 ways. Some claimed he was too furious to speak. Others insisted he was laughing it off behind the scenes. After about a week, Drake finally broke his silence in a casual live stream. Fans peppered him with comments about Kendrick's alleged diss, one saying, "Did you see him come for you at the Super Bowl?" Drake paused, chuckled, then launched into a thoughtful reflection on rivalry in hip-hop. He admitted he'd heard the rumors, but wasn't convinced the call-out was about him. Still, he didn't entirely dismiss the possibility. Instead, he said that if Kendrick had a problem, he'd welcome a direct conversation or a clearer statement, rather than an ambiguous halftime clue. That balanced tone surprised many. Drake came across as measured, not letting the chatter derail him. He also expressed some frustration with how fans tend to spin every performance into a conspiracy theory. Yet there was a slight crack in his polished armor, an unmistakable note of annoyance at being the center of speculations. For some watchers, that half-smile and pensive tone revealed he might be more rattled than he cared to admit. With Drake's response now out in the open, the debate only intensified. Half the internet seemed to think Drake was playing it cool, trying to stay above the fray while quietly plotting a lyrical counterpunch. The other half believed the entire moment at the halftime show was never about Drake at all. Maybe, they argued, Kendrick was referring to the music. Hip-hop is no stranger to rivalry. In fact, competition has been a driving force in the genre since its inception, pushing artists to outdo one another in skill, style, and substance. Historically, feuds have ranged from playful to downright dangerous, sometimes overshadowing the music itself. Drake and Kendrick's rumored beef sits at the tamer end of that spectrum, but it still ignites fierce debate because both artists are at the top of their game. Where Drake often addresses controversies head-on, whether with a quick Instagram clapback or a surprise EP, Kendrick tends to let the talk swirl. Some see it as strategic silence that amplifies the mystique around him. Others argue it's a way to make people focus on the art rather than the drama. Combined with fans who analyze every bar for hidden meaning, it's the perfect recipe for endless online speculation. Drake's reaction, for many, represents a more mature phase of his career. He's been tangled in beefs before, some that unfolded very publicly and threatened to derail his image. Now, he seems more focused on longevity than jumping into feuds. At the same time, Kendrick's cryptic approach keeps him safe from direct backlash, unless he chooses to clarify his intentions, which he rarely does. The result? A pot that keeps simmering but rarely boils over. Even after Drake's calm remarks, the speculation refused to die. On podcasts, radio shows, and YouTube channels, hosts kept analyzing the rumored halftime diss. Some even claimed to have inside scoops, unverified, of course, suggesting that Drake was quite to headline-grabbing feuds, yet his measured stance here reflects an artist who'd rather let the music speak than indulge in petty back-and-forth. Kendrick, on the other hand, remains the enigma he's always been, an artist whose genius lies in subtlety and layered storytelling. Whether he intended this halftime show moment to target Drake or not, he accomplished what few can. He kept people buzzing long after the confetti was cleared. Ultimately, the rumor diss is just one chapter in a narrative that stretches back years, fueled by fans, shaped by media, and played out by two titans of hip-hop. If this is indeed a rivalry, it remains one of the most fascinating. Both artists operate with a respect for creativity and an unspoken spirit of competition. And if it's not a rivalry at all, then it's a testament to how rumors can take on a life of their own when you're dealing with superstars who dominate the charts and captivate the culture. Only time will tell if Drake and Kendrick ever address each other directly in a track so clear that no one can mistake its intention. Until then, the mystery endures, and that's part of the allure. Music fans love a good puzzle, and Drake and Kendrick seem more than willing to let us keep guessing. Whether the entire incident was a well-orchestrated stunt or a complete misunderstanding, it's become another thread woven into the tapestry of hip-hop lore. And maybe that's the real magic. In a realm where competition fuels innovation, even an ambiguous moment under the stadium lights can shape the conversation for months, if not years. Still catching your breath from that tea and craving more? Drop a like, then hit subscribe to Tea Sesh with Jessica, your favorite host, so you're first in line for every sip. With more drama on the horizon, you definitely don't want to get left behind.